Kia ora, I'm Andrew Langridge, one of the trustees of the Film Festival, and it's my pleasure to be talking to Jazmín López, director of If I Were the Winter Itself. Kia ora, Jazmín, and welcome to our special hybrid edition of Whānau Marama, the New Zealand International Film Festival. First of all, congratulations on making such a beautiful and mysterious film. Could you tell us a little about your filmmaking background and how you came to make If I Were the Winter Itself?
Yeah, thank you very much for invitation, Martin. You, like all the committee, to have seen the film. It's such an honor to be here, even though it's everything virtual. I'm really happy to be part of this. So how my background in film? I decided to start to study cinema without any clue. I have to admit, I wanted to study philosophy and visual arts, and somehow I end up believing that the mixture of these two things would be cinema. But then during the career, I kind of fell in love with studying that. And then I started with short films, and then my first feature that the name is Leones. And then this project that for me, it has a lot to do with Leones. So many people say like it's very, very different. I really don't understand that, because I really see like the same kind of research. I usually understand what I'm trying to do after a while. Like I work with intuition and some mise-en-scène ideas that I want to try. And after a while of shooting the film and editing the film, after the film is done, I kind of start understanding what it was all about. In this particular film, it's very connected to the like personal history, so to say, even though it's very opaque, but it's in relation to my father was part of a guerrilla in the 70s in Argentina. So all these films have, all these reenactments are there to try to understand. I was always obsessed with the image of him being young and trying to change the world. So the three pieces that I choose to reenact are very related to how I needed an end of my father back in the 70s, with three artists that are very related to politics and revolution. So, I'm sorry if that was too long.
No, that's great. So you've, as you mentioned, you've include reenactments of Jean-Luc Godard's La Chinoise, Ana Mendieta's Untitled Facial Hair Transplants, and Harun Farocki's Inextinguishable Fire. All of those are representative of a period of activist art from the late 60s and early 70s. So why did you choose those three particular works, and what do you see the role of activist art in 2020?
That's a great question, thank you. The film came, and the part of the reenactments came to me with two different type of energies, so to say. One is very personal, as I mentioned before, with my father, and the other one, it's something that haunts me a lot, and I think about it a lot, is what happened with the political art back in the 70s, and why nowadays art seems to be too separate from politics on my regard. And I want to at least try to do like little steps towards the possibility of doing it again, especially in a world that is becoming very divided and very right-wing, left-wing, and I think we are in danger on that respect. So I think art should try, or I should try, and I don't know who else, whoever wants, to bring this back in a way. So I don't know if that replies
No, that's
your
good.
answer.
That's good. What about
And why Godard? Yeah, and why? Well, that film La Chinoise, when I saw it, I was like kind of seeing my father at that when he was young. I was like always fantasizing about an image of how it was, how they were creating the guerrilla here in Argentina, because they were intellectuals and they were students, and they were like very much that in a different, completely Latin America, but like completely different scenario, but with something similar in the sense of the age and the politics. And same with Faroqui, and same with Ana Mendieta. I mean, in that topic, I would say the three of them are pretty much the same on my mind.
Mm-hmm. And how does Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights video figure into this? Is that like a biographical thing? Is that something that you just had a personal attachment to?
No. I really like that song, and I really like the eccentricity that this song and that video creates on me. Like, I think it's very, very special and mysterious and very pretentious, but in a good way. And I am particularly interested in artificiality, and I can see in that video and in her songs and her lyrics this kind of pushing the limits of what is supposed to be real or naturalistic or something like that. So it's not personal. I mean, it's personal in the sense that I like the song, but there's it was like a more formal choose. Or
Mm-hmm. There is quite a strong dance component to your film, both in the intricate choreography between the camera and the actors, but also there are specific dance scenes in the film. So how do you see the relationship between dance and cinema?
This is super new in my cinema. It's something that really appears into this, emerge in this last film. It's not something that I had been working on, but I realized, like, when I am something that has connection to my previous film is like when I'm thinking about a scene, and usually I draw like the movement of the camera and the actors. At one point I realized this must be choreography. I never studied choreography. I don't know anything about it, but I realized that I was creating a choreography even in my previous films between the camera and the characters. So I just went forward with that, and I enjoyed a lot. Like I remember one of the happiest days of the shooting, it was after finishing the last shot of La Chinoise, like that take that like all the movements or the people, like it's not just the actors and the camera, it's the lighting guy, like myself hiding, and we were all like knowing the choreography, and that was very extremely beautiful, emotionally beautiful for me to see all these movements. And yeah, I'm very interested in choreography. I think it has some relation also to, in a very macro way, like how the cities are created, how the politics are created, like how the body is, how we move towards the others and society. So I really like that. I will keep working on that.
I loved the way that in your extremely long takes, you'd incorporate various surprises as the camera moved around and characters relocated. the house in which much of the film is set almost becomes a character itself, the way it's explored in those long mobile takes. It seems like that mode of filmmaking is integral to the story you're telling in this film. So how did you find this location, and which came first, the story or the space in which it occupied?
That's a great question. Thank you. The house is exactly. I mean, for me, it's kind of the main character in a way. This house, I mean, like there were at the end like 3 or 4 houses that I really liked, and I chose this one because it is ghost itself, and there's something that is the same in all my films, that somehow I'm working with ghost in different ways. And at that house, the owner it was Bioy Casares, which was the best friend of Borges. You probably is more well known. It's like one of the most well-known writers from my country from the 50s, and they were like the old intellectual aristocracy in Buenos Aires, where they were having their summer times there at that house. Actually, the picture that some of the characters in my film are showing that they find it's that. It's Alejandra Pizarnik, Bioy Casares, Kosarinsky, a bunch of intellectuals that were there at the house. And when I knew that, it was like, okay, I'm not going to mention that directly, but I want that energy to be there, like the past of the artists at that period, the 50s, which before Peronism, to be an artist meant to be rich, and those guys were very rich. That's why they had that house. And then I like these drawings that I was mentioning before, I was doing those before having the house, and then I adapted to the blueprints of the house that my father helped me to. We did all the blueprints of the house, of the old house, which is a complete crazy.
Yeah, I can certainly see the influence of Borges on your film. Now, your cinematographer Rua Posas has worked extensively with the Portuguese director João Pedro Rodrigues, and has shot some of the most beautiful looking films of the last 10 years, including Rodriguez's The Ornithologist, Miguel Gomez Tabu, and Lucrecia Martel Zama. Can you talk about your working relationship with him?
Yeah, that was amazing. I met him actually in the premiere of Sama, and that was like very nice to meet him. And I started telling him about this film, that I was thinking that it would be great if he would be interested. And then we met again in Uruguay, and he is also very interested in activism, and especially in the 70s. And so we really connect on that regard, like in a political way. So we started to work by like virtually, and then he came and we started working here, and it was amazing. Like, he's an extremely great professional and photographer, and also a great person. And it was such a pleasure to be able to work with him in this film, that the visuals are that important. And an anecdote, that every time that I was telling like the technicians what we are about to do, they were like looking at me saying like, no, that's impossible. And Rui was always saying like, no, let's do it. I mean, some of the shots were like, we were all day rehearsing, and then having, I don't know, half an hour to actually shoot But I like this way of working, like rehearsing a lot and knowing the movements and then doing it. So he was a great supporter of the film as well, and this is much appreciated.
Yeah. Well, it was a fantastic film, and you can certainly see the value of doing those rehearsals for such elaborate takes. I think we're nearly out of time, so thank you very much for speaking to us about your amazing film. Best of luck with your upcoming projects, and we hope that we'll be able to see you in person at a future festival. Thank you very much, Jazmín
thank you very
López.
much. Thank you. The questions were amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.